Good morning and welcome to morning meditation. We're still in Proverbs chapter 6. My son, keep thy father's commandment, forsake not the law of thy mother. Bind them continually upon thine heart, tie them about thy neck. When thou goest, it shall lead thee. When thou sleepest, it shall keep thee. When thou awakest, it shall talk with thee. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is a light, and the reproofs of instruction are the ways of life. And then the rest of the chapter goes on to talk about the evil ways of evil people distracting us from the path of the Lord. When it's talking about keeping your father's commandments and your mother's instruction, it's talking about biblical instruction. It's not talking about do this because I'm your dad and I told you so. I think so many dads and moms do a disservice not only to their children, but to the Word of God when they say, do this because I told you so. Instruct your children. Be wise about it. Hey, son, hey, daughter, this is what the Word of God says. And no, you may not understand it. You may not even agree with it, but this is what we're going to do in our house. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Just like it talks about making it a rope about your neck, it's giving us the picture of sheep that need to be led, and we all need to be led by the Word of God. I've been making much lately in church of scriptural living because I see so many people not living scripturally, and they're trying to substitute positive thinking for scriptural thinking. Whenever we get our mind wrapped around the Word of God instead of trying to get God wrapped around what we think, we're going to be in a far better place spiritually, emotionally, mentally. Job, over and over again, what an example he is of just trusting God. Was Job perfect? No, he complained for some chapters, but as soon as God pointed that out, Job got things right with God, got back on track. Christian, we need to make sure that not only we understand it, but our children understand it, and children and teenagers, you need to understand it. The Word of God is our final authority. And when we learn to obey it, it promises us we're going to live a happy life, an abundant life, a tremendous life. And when we reject it, we're in for a bucket of sorrows. We're in for some rough times. David's another good example. So many times he obeyed the Lord and did that which was right and was blessed of God. And there were times that he did what he thought was right. And boy, that did not turn out well at all. And Christian, we need to make sure as parents that we're teaching our children the Word of God. We teach not only by our words, but we teach by our actions. If we're not being obedient, if we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, how can we expect our children to listen and obey? Parents, we are teaching our children, the next generation, how to live for the Lord. And that's really absent in Christian life today. People that are living and teaching by their example. I think of T. DeWitt Talmage. Many of you probably don't know who he is, but a famous preacher in the late 1800s, early 1800s. And his parents lived the example. His mother got together with 5 other mothers and prayed until all of their children got saved. What an example. And we need to set that kind of example for our kids. I'm not talking about reading 5 chapters a night, praying for a half an hour, but parents, it won't hurt you to read the Bible and pray with your kids for 10 minutes. And if your kids absolutely refuse, then do it anyway. And if you make it, listen, I've heard people say you can't lead a horse to water and make him drink. But I'm going to tell you what, you put salt in his oats and he'll drink every time. You teach your children to love the Word of God. You show them by example that you and your wife love the Word of God. That salt sown in their life will draw them to the truth of the Word of God. And boy, that's what we want. I hope you'll take some instruction from this. God bless you and have a wonderful day.